How's it going, you guys? Welcome back to Jason Unleashed. Jason Carter here. So good to be here with you guys. Happy Monday. Excited for today's show. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I'm here in Miami, so I'm wearing this really pink festive shirt, and I'm here for it. So this is what you get. Today's guest is Simone Boyce. She is an NBC News correspondent, all-around kick-ass girl. I mean, I have followed her career for the longest time, and she has done some incredible things from NBC News to Fox New York to the Young Turks. She is incroyable. I think that's incredible in French. I don't know, I'm trying to be bilingual here. But anyways, she's on the show today, so stay tuned. If you guys have any questions, want to chime in below, you know there's a question box below. Hit me with the comments. I will get some as soon as I can. And again, thank you so much for watching. Hi, everyone. Hi. I would wave back, but if I move my phone, it's a wrap. It's been hard as hell to find good lighting in this hotel room, and I finally found it, so I'm not moving my phone. So just waiting for Simone to send the request. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go get her myself. Let's see. Bam. Go live with Simone. Here we go. Simone. Go. Are you twerking, Simone? No? Yeah, there you go. Hi, hello.
Wait, let me just make sure we ain't got lip gloss on the teeth. Okay, we're ready.
Good to go. Hey, you. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, as I was saying in the intro, huge fan. I mean, I have followed you. Well, I know you personally, but I have followed you and your career for like the last decade now, because we met at a place at a person. You were working on my reel, and I saw you, and I was like, "Who is this 6 foot tall, beautiful, athletic star?" And then here we are, 10 years later, and you are absolutely killing the game. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I could say literally the exact same things about you. I'm pretty sure you're looking in the mirror right now.
No, but the biggest thing I want to talk about, let's not even ignore the pink elephant in the room. You are a new mom.
Yeah.
Baby Logan.
Yeah.
Motherhood, life-changing, I'm sure. Tell us about that, because we have seen you go through the whole journey of motherhood, and you've been so relatable, so vulnerable, and just so real in the struggles and also the beauty of becoming a mom.
Thank you, Jason. I think I just know how much it helps me whenever someone else is vulnerable and is real and authentic about their story. It sort of frees me up to be open about my own experience too. So that's what I just want to do. I just want to be an open book as much as possible and just help other women embrace motherhood and explore it as an option if it's something that they want to do. But it has been life-changing in every sense of the word. And it's funny because I was never one of these women who always had it in her head that she wanted to be a mom. I think I always thought that it would be a part of my life at some point, but I was never kind of, obsessed or sort of working toward that goal of motherhood. But now,
sure.
It has taken over me. It is, it's just the most amazing thing. And I feel like I've grown in so many ways. It's helped me to be more selfless, more patient. You can't be lazy as a mom, so it forces you to get outside of the patterns that you've been living in for the past 30-something years and just really give all of yourself to this human being. And I've learned so much about the strength of women throughout this as well.
And you've highlighted that. You've talked about that on in your social media, and just every place I've seen you at lately, it's before COVID, you've really been so open and just about that journey. And it's cool because here, you had a post that talked about worrying about being a viable talent because of motherhood, about you not being marketable anymore, or about how that putting a wrench, if you will, in your career. And I found that post, Simone, to be so refreshing, so honest, so open, because even though I'm not a father of a biological child. I have stepkids, but I don't have a newborn. But those fears are real.
Yeah.
And people are afraid to talk about them because they're afraid they're being selfish, and they're afraid they're not being the good parent. But that's a conversation that a lot of people in our industry are having secretly but not openly. So thank you for having that open conversation. When you posted that, the genesis of just revealing that? Was it just something that spoke to you that day that said, I needed to get this out?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think that's where a lot of my musings on social media sort of as an
Musings.
outlet, because I spend all my days, all my hours with a baby, so I don't
Yeah.
really have someone to talk to about this or vocalize. Obviously, my husband too, but he's busy with work during the day. I think it was really a journey for me to get to that place where I was comfortable having a baby and accepting all of the risks, if any, that came with that professionally.
Yeah.
And time will tell. I'm not working right now. I'm on maternity leave, so I don't know how being a mom is going to affect my work when I go back to NBC. I don't think it will. It shouldn't legally.
Yeah.
I don't anticipate that, but you never know down the road.
Right.
How will people view me as a mother and a reporter? I think thankfully the industry is in a much better place now than it was a few years ago. Even I have heard stories about, there would be chatter in the newsroom if someone was going on maternity leave or becoming a mom. There would be like eye rolls, and now that's just not acceptable at all. And I am going to call anything like that out if I see it. Thankfully, like I said, I haven't run into it at all at NBC. But I think it is important to sort of realize what are some of the things that you do want to accomplish before you become a mom or become a parent, and work towards accomplishing those things and checking those things off your list, because we like to say that you can have it all, but I don't know that that's true. I don't think that you can have it all at once. You might be able to have it all spread out at different points in your life, but it's a lot, and becoming a parent is an all-consuming job. So for me, what I did is I knew that I wanted to travel. I knew that I had to go see the world, and I really had wanted to do a solo travel trip for a long time, and I never got into it. I never was able to do it because I was working. I just started working after college. So 2 years ago now, I took this epic trip across Southeast Asia, just me. And I just really took that time to enjoy my intimacy with myself and my alone time, because I knew that would soon be coming to an end, because starting a family was something that I knew that we wanted to do soon. So for me, that was one of the things that I wanted to check off my list, and I'm so glad that I did it. So it's definitely a give and take, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
And we get that, and you can have it all. I think we have this predetermined idea, and that's what, like, your career, the perfect husband, the perfect pair of shoes. You have an idea of what that looks like, but the way the universe delivers that is never how it looks like. And more times than not, it's even better. You bring up NBC though, and your career. Okay, everyone watching, let's just get into Simone's career, because it's so cool. Entertainment news was your jam.
Yes.
At one point. It's everyone's jam, right?
Yeah.
But Simone, we have seen you conquer human interests. We have seen you conquer politics. We have seen you conquer breaking news. You are a jack of all trades, and you do it with such a nuanced, unique approach. And I watch a lot of people on TV. And I love a good female talent. But there's something about you that is so compelling, from Signal on NBC to even when you were at KTLA, Fox New York. You bring something different to the table. Your first job in entertainment, you said, FLA, I'm going to New York.
I kind of did it backwards, right? It was so much fun getting to cover entertainment news in New York. I had the best job in the world. I got to eat at all the great restaurants, drink all the yummy drinks, got to see all the Broadway shows, and I got to call all of it work. So when I look back on that chapter, I look back on it very fondly, because I got to just really fall in love with New York City and really know the city very well. So that was such an amazing chapter. Thank you, by the way, for all the flattering things that you just said.
I mean it.
It's weird to hear it. I think I underwent this personal realization or evolution when I was in that job as the entertainment reporter at Fox 5, though, because there were several incidents of police brutality that happened in 2016. Eric Garner was one of them, and we saw unrest, not at the level that we're seeing right now, but there were a lot of protests, and everyone was speaking out about these injustices. And the election was approaching that year, and it just all got me thinking, you know what, I've really enjoyed being an entertainment reporter and being on the red carpet. It's fun, but I feel like there's something more that I have to offer. There's something more that I want to add to this conversation. And I've had FOMO. I wanted to be a part of this conversation that was at the intersection of politics, of social justice, of race, of identity. So I made the jump. I decided to put entertainment reporting aside at that time and explore hard news and breaking news. And now I've arrived at a place where I really appreciate both. And I see the need for both. There's a need for escapism content, you know, especially in a time like this, but there's also a need for the hard-hitting, fact-driven content as well. So I hope that the rest of my career looks like an intersection of both of those passions of mine.
Well, I think you've melded the two gracefully. I mean, from what you did what you do, sorry, at NBC News, it's incredible to see how you covered just like Khashoggi, his murder, and so many things that when you're at Signal, and also on the Young Turks. I mean, the conversations that you're able to have, a lot of talents can't do that. They can't pivot easily from entertainment, because entertainment news, let's keep it 100. I mean, now more than ever, it's become a little bit more nuanced, and you mentioned intersectionality, right? Yes. Politics and entertainment news are for sure, they're now colliding. But prior to, I would say, the volcanic landscape that we're in politically, it was very easy to just be Kardashians, fashion, pop culture, yes, you know? And you really had to be, my lane is that, my lane is this, they don't cross. But now they do, and you've been able to be, you know, in the thick of it, says something about your skill set. NBC is, of course, the world over, Herald, I mean, top 4, top 3. When were you trepidatious though? Saying, okay, I knew I had to make a change. Let me get into this lane. Were you afraid that you wouldn't be taken seriously? Because people love to throw, oh, you're an entertainment journalist. Like, what do you have to say? Also, you have a unique perspective being biracial. Were you like fearful that people wouldn't see your voice as valuable?
I was terrified. I was terrified of not being taken seriously. I was terrified of making a mistake. And honestly, everyone told me when I was leaving Fox 5 in New York that I was making a mistake, or if they didn't say it outright, they said it with their stares and their, you know, asides. And I was really nervous about it. My husband and I, we knew we wanted to move back to LA. He's a screenwriter, he's in the industry here. And so we wanted to make this our home base. And there was a period of time where I didn't know if it was going to work out, Jason, to be honest. I didn't know that I was going to find that right job that would help me transition into hard news. But I did. And I think I just knew that it would be worth it. I knew that I wanted to be seen as a talent that could pivot and could live in those two worlds. And I saw the writing on the wall, exactly what you're talking about right now, about how entertainment and politics are colliding and we can't keep them siloed any longer. But it was hard work, I'm not going to lie. And so when it comes to reinvention and reinventing yourself, I think reinvention is something that we do several times in our lifetimes, and it's great for us. It's great to take risks and grow yourself, and it's impossible to, I think, live a fulfilling life if you don't do that, if you don't grow and expand. But it does take a lot of work, especially to make a pivot like that professionally. So what I learned is that I really just had to grind in order to get taken seriously. I was shooting my own content. Like, we met during that season of my life where I was like cutting reels, and I learned how to sort of cut reels in a way that would help people sell themselves. And so I took some of those skills that I learned in my early days, and I knew, okay, I've got to cut a new reel that's going to sell me as a journalist who can handle some of these tougher topics. So I was shooting content on the side. I was freelancing, working at KTLA, and I was freelancing, working at the Young Turks too. But thankfully, all of those different elements collided, and it just worked. It became a formula that worked, and that thankfully NBC took me seriously and were willing to bring me in.
I love that. Moving to NBC,
Yeah.
how did you springboard onto such a major platform? Because I think that's one of the things a lot of talents, myself included, like you mentioned reinvention. I'm at a space right now where I am like on the precipice of either a meltdown or reinvention. But we're always there, right? And
That's
you're
how all
always there.
great reinventions start, though.
Yeah,
It's on
like
that fine line.
you're on the edge. You're just like, you
Yes.
know what? But springboarding from that, your grind. I mean, as a matter of fact, I saw you. You were in. There was something happened in Woodland Hills. I lived in Woodland Hills, and you and Leah Uko
Yes.
were covering something out there, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's Simone doing her thing. But we loved you on KTLA, loved you on the Young Turks. But getting on NBC, major, and the work you were doing with Signal, and then going to MSNBC, also seeing you on the Today Show with Hoda and Kathy Lee. I mean, really being in that realm. How did that come about? Because one just doesn't go from KTLA, local news, to a national outfit unless there is like something amazing and you have amazing talent, which you do. How did that come about?
I'm gonna let everybody in on a little secret.
Oh, exclusive.
This is an exclusive. When I interviewed for my job at NBC, I came in with a presentation in hand. Hard copy, tangible, printed it out at Kinko's, like old school style, and it had the little binding on the side and everything.
Love it.
And it was a presentation to show what my contribution could be to this new fledgling streaming network that we were launching, because I wanted to be viewed as not just a on-air talent, but also as someone who could contribute editorially. Mm-hmm. So I laid it all out there. I said, look, here's our audience, here's who we're trying to target, here's what they're hungry for, here's what they don't want to see, and this is how we can do it. Let's do it with this kind of segment here and this recurring segment here, and let's bring in a panel discussion here. So I think that going the extra mile to really prove that you are undeniable, like they cannot live without you. That's what you want them to walk away with after you leave those meetings. And that is, from what I've heard, sort of the conversations that were happening. Like by the time I had left 30 Rock after my full day of interviews with all the executives there, they were saying, oh, we've heard, but actually by the time that I got into like a new meeting with someone else, they were like, oh, we've heard about you. We've heard about your presentation. Let's see this presentation. And so you want that sort of desire to be there, and you want to make yourself undeniable to them. So hopefully that's what I accomplished. And I would encourage anybody, if you're going in for interviews and this is a job that you really, really want, go the extra mile. Make a presentation. Ask if you can project a presentation on the wall. Go ahead and shoot some test content for them. Anything that's going to set you apart from the other candidates, because I guarantee the other candidates are not going to go the extra mile like you are.
Right. 100%. And I think that, you said making yourself desirable. You have to. They can't imagine it until you show them. And that's in any, when it comes to pitching segments or ideas, you have to kid gloved, walk them through start to finish. But I think that also leans on the beauty of being able to be in this industry and see what works and see what doesn't work. And then, and for you to know that, hey, I know my worth. And I think that's the conversation that we're having now as talent, is just people finally seeing your worth and saying, hey, listen, I've been overlooked, especially when it comes to people of color in this industry, because we're no longer the accessory. We're no longer the box checked, but not the checked box that's actually engaged. I always say that diversity and representation are ideas, but the inclusion is the action of those ideas. And I think that when a lot of talent that are of color, be it Black, Asian, Pacific Islander, you have it, we're like, no. I'm worthy of this spot. And let me show you why I'm worthy, because obviously you're not doing your homework to see why I'm worthy. And they shouldn't have to. It's like your agent. They get 10%, you do 90% of the job, right? It's that thing. But you landed in NBC at this new outlet, Signal, beautiful, beautiful, beautifully, and then the content was incredible. They're sending you all over. You're going to El Paso, ranches in New Mexico, talking to people about things that matter. When was it, Simone, that you knew that, yes, this is that moment of I'm living my purpose? Because your purpose changes, but when was that one moment where you thought like, I'm Simone Boyce and I've somewhat arrived?
Oof. I'm not sure you ever really arrive. I'm not sure you ever really are done paying your dues because, like we were saying earlier, there's always another reinvention around the corner. And that means that you're going to have to get your hands dirty and pay your dues again. So that one is tough for me to answer. But I would say I've endeavored, for better or worse, to tackle some really bold questions and try to get answers to those questions. So I did a piece about Black conservatives. There was a convention of sorts of Black conservatives happening in DC, and my goal with that story was to show that Black people are not monolithic. There are a range of political viewpoints that exist within the Black community, and we often get lumped into this one political voting block, but really we are breaking out of that box in so many different ways. And so I interviewed a bunch of Black voters with a range of viewpoints on any number of issues. And I got so much mixed feedback from that story. It's still, to date, one of our most watched stories on our YouTube channel at NBC News. And I got people who were really pleased with the story and happy to see that I provided a new perspective on one of America's most pivotal voting blocks. And then there were people who, were not happy with the story at all and felt that it was slanted in one way or another. And so when I elicit that sort of visceral reaction to a story that's so mixed and you're getting so much love and so much hate on a story, for me as a journalist, that kind of means that I've accomplished my goal.
Right. Agreed. And you can't make everyone happy. And I think that when you're about taking risks, obviously, and risk is something that has proven to work out for you. And there's times where it doesn't work out for you. But I think when it comes to telling a story and connecting with an audience, if you're not polarizing, if you're not unintentionally being polarizing, like there's people who like love to be polarizing, but if the result of what you're doing causes polarity and causes conversation and gets people talking, gets people, thinking in ways that they probably haven't before, then absolutely, you have absolutely done your job, and you have absolutely, it's okay.
I've been called out for my bad camera resolution, so I'm working on it.
I'd rather have good audio. Good audio is sometimes better than a good camera resolution.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's not like my goal is actually, I think, hopefully what all of our goals are is just unity and finding common ground.
Yeah.
So it's not like I set out to do that story to be polarizing, but sometimes ideas are controversial these days, as we see so often.
And that's okay. That's okay. Controversial is a word that people are using now when we talk about colorism and ethnicity in entertainment. Look, and especially in entertainment, I mean, you are biracial, and the people love to say, okay, this is this type of Black female. This is this type of Black male in the industry. And I loved how on Kelly Clarkson last fall, you celebrated your natural hair. And that was, it was so dope. That was like one of the best. I watch Kelly every day. And it was so good to see you there because that's a conversation that, I mean, I rock my natural hair every day. And I grew up in an environment that wasn't hyper Black. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. There wasn't a huge Black community. So the conversation about natural hair and Blackness was something that was new to me going into my 20s. Yeah. And so to see you on a huge platform like that talking about your natural hair was so refreshing. But in the entertainment industry, how did you navigate people wanting to put Simone Boyce in a box, giving you the Mariah Carey treatment. Is she black? Is she white? We don't know. Like what in times where you that were uncomfortable for you in that nature, how did you navigate that?
Whew, it's challenging. I'm still navigating it. I feel like as a biracial person and of course just as a person of color in this country, navigating your identity is a lifelong journey and a lifelong task. And it does feel even more intense when you are doing that on a stage, on a platform as a news reporter. So let's see. I mean, I think for a long time in the industry, I straightened my hair just because I felt like that's what would help me advance, sadly. And it wasn't until I was sort of leaving my job at Fox in New York and I was surrounded by all these amazing women of different cultures in New York City. New York City is just such a diverse place. And there are Black Latina women who have like full curly hair, and it's not even a thing to like walk around New York City with curly hair. So I was just like, they're giving me strength by exuding their strength. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna embrace that. But when I got to KTLA, unfortunately, it was made very clear to me that I would need to straighten my hair if I wanted to get that job and work there.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And I had a conversation with my agent about it, and I was like, we both discussed it, and the reality was I needed that experience. I needed that job. I needed that live hard news experience. And unfortunately, that's a situation that a lot of Black people in the industry find themselves in. It's like, do I compromise a part of my identity in order to advance professionally? And that's a conundrum that we shouldn't have to be faced with. So I did straighten my hair there. So clearly they were trying to put me in a box there, right? Which didn't make a lot of sense because Los Angeles, similarly, but maybe not to the same scale as New York, is an incredibly diverse place. We've got Black women, we've got Hispanic women, Mexican women, Middle Eastern, Jewish women. We got it all here. And so why am I going on air at this local station to represent this entire city of a multitude of different hair textures, and y'all want me to have straight hair? That just doesn't make any sense. So I've experienced it there. But thankfully that experience, being restricted to one sort of look as a news personality, that made me want to break free of that mold and encourage other women to break free of that mold. And I'll be the first to acknowledge I don't have it as, I don't have the same challenges that other Black women face. You mentioned colorism. That's something that I want to be increasingly sensitive to. And I'm growing and learning throughout all these conversations that we're having and this racial tension that we're seeing simmering around the country. So hopefully if I can embrace who I am and not allow people to confine me to their boxes, hopefully that'll pave the way for other Black women and women of color to do the same thing. And you brought up something earlier that I think is so important. Like inclusion is an active, it is an active thing. It's an active task, right? And I think now it's really important for people like us, Jason, to draw attention to the fact that there is a distinction between hiring Black people in your company and investing in Black people.
Wait. Say that again, because the music to my ears, and I don't understand, Simone, why people don't get that. Don't get that. You work for a network that is very good about investing in their talent. And look, investment means this for people watching as well. They allow you to be who you are. One, they give you what you need to do your job, and they create a space and they listen to what you need in order to be your best self for the reason why they brought you there.
Yeah.
It is I always say that violence isn't always physical. Violence against people of color, violence against women, violence against marginalized groups of people isn't always attacking someone physically. Microaggressions are violence. hiring people of color, women, and not and then having them be in a space that isn't conducive to a positive outcome, that's violence. Bringing in talent who can do the job, but sending non-POC people to a Black award show when you have talented hosts and producers who can do the same job, that's violence against Black people and people of color. So, I mean, it's like, it's so bizarre that people don't realize that. I like, common sense would tell you, hey, this isn't the right thing to do. But I'm sorry. Anyways, continue. You are right.
No, I'm sorry that you have experienced it too. It's unfortunate, and we can only hope that this will change with the conversations that we're having right now. I think that hopefully we will see that shift once the gatekeepers of talent at these networks and at these companies are more reflective of the kind of diversity that they claim that they want to see. Because if your gatekeepers are all homogenous and they're all coming from the same ethnic backgrounds, at best, that could lead to cultural insensitivity. At worst, it could lead to a complete aversion to anything that doesn't look like them. And whether that is implicit or explicit bias, whether that is intentional or, just something that is more subconscious. So yeah, I mean, it still happens in the news industry. When you look at newsroom leadership is still not where it needs to be in terms of people of color filling those newsroom leadership roles. So again, those are those gatekeepers, and they have a pivotal role when it comes to deciding who gets to be on air and what those people look like.
Yeah, they do. And I think the conversations have no choice but to change because people are now being held accountable. As I said, I was talking to Zuri Hall last week, and there's a reckoning happening.
Yeah.
Undeniably. And people, there no longer can the excuse be, well, we didn't know. No, it's like, now you know, and now you'll be held accountable. And it's not that people of color want things handed to us. We just want to sit at the table because and a fair chance. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, just a fair chance to get to be heard, because not everything's going to be a great idea. Not everyone's going to be amazing. Not everything's going to be like, the best thing ever. But when you like how you mentioned explicit and implicit bias, also an aversion, because when you turn a blind eye, that's when it becomes like intentional. When you refuse to see the value in the talent that you brought on to look inclusive to the public to get those kudos, that's when it becomes, again, that violence against those people. And for those watching, violence isn't always physical, and I will drive that home. It's not always physical because people don't seem to grasp that idea. But moving on from racial conversation to some levity, girl. Got some levity. You're a new mom.
Yes.
Your time with your baby has been probably the most amazing because you're on maternity leave, but now we're also being forced to stay even closer indoors. What have you learned about yourself, Simone, that has shocked you the most in this time of quarantine with baby Logan? Because you cannot sit here and tell me you haven't been like, wow, I never realized this about myself, or I don't like this about myself, or I love this new something about myself. As you said, you're always evolving.
I think I've realized like how many aspects of my sort of personality I've maybe suppressed or haven't tended to, just because I've been so busy with work. And this is the first time that I've, had so much time off from work to just kind of get to know me again. My lighting sucks.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Girl, this is Instagram. Look, this is the aesthetic.
So important, though.
You're fine.
Out of my lighting. Yeah, I think just imagine not working like for 3 months straight or 6 months straight and not having to feel anxious about it. That is it's a huge luxury, and I'm so aware of that. And so I've just been able to enjoy little hobbies again, like enjoy getting back into like interiors and interior design and like making my space feel pretty. And I've been enjoying just working out and taking care of my body and like restoring my strength. So I think like with the blank space, I think blank space and negative space in our lives is so important. Just leaving room, period. Leaving
Yeah.
room for things that make you happy, things that bring you joy, leaving room for things that make you emotional, and, you know, being able to sort of understand those emotions better or explore those emotions better. So I think I've just been so grateful for how I've been able to sort of get back to the old Simone with like with so much blank space in my life right now. It's been really
I think that's so cool. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you're right. And a lot of people shy away from that blank and negative space because we've had time to sit with ourselves and really like be like, okay, why am I screwed up? Why do I need therapy? Why am I feeling this way? But that's a beautiful thing. I liken what's happening with COVID. I mean, there's got to be a silver lining in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think the silver lining is we have been able to slow down and just be with ourselves. And also think about how everything has come to fruition. I mean, look, we're in civil unrest and we are in a time that's unprecedented, but we have the time to really experience that, digest it, and take action because we have no choice. The universe, it's orchestrated masterfully. And the justice that's coming and the conversations, I feel like there's a higher divine, whatever you want to call it, that's had their hand in what we're experiencing. So I'm glad that you've been able to also reinvent, because you're reinventing yourself now. You're reinventing yourself in this time too, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
For
if
sure.
you could,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just I know this is probably not allowed because it's your show, but I was just gonna flip the script on you a little bit. And you've had just as much time, you know, to think about your next reinvention. What are the things that are on your mind and heart right now as you look to that next period, and how can I be there to encourage you? Because I know where you are at. Trust me, I know that precipice between meltdown and reinvention. It's scary, it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's all those things. How are you doing?
Thank you. Simone, you can ask me any question you want. Simone, I don't know. I really don't know. Janet Jackson has an album from 2006 called 20YO. And at the beginning of the album, she says, I've talked about everything, but what I do know is that I don't know. And honestly, right now, I don't know. And I'm okay with that. Really, I do this show every day. I love, and to me, that's been an anchor. And that's a constant. So it's okay. Like, it's gonna come. I think one of the things I've had to learn to do, because we're such go-getters, make it happen. It's your responsibility is to allow things. You know, things have Ashley. Hey, Ashley, great TV. You guys go follow her in the comments. Hi, everyone in the comments. We see you. I'm gonna get to the question too. I don't know. To just allow for whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and just to show up, to be present, and just show up the best way I can, and just go there. Because I think the best things that have happened in my life and the best things that have happened in my career have come from nowhere, but I was ready for them. I was ready for that. I was ready to walk through whatever opportunity presented itself.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just where I'm at now. And what I mean about meltdown is just, you know, being unemployed, you know, leaving an outlet, an awesome major outlet, and then not having anything on the horizon. Yeah. Starting over from scratch, possibly relocating to the East Coast. Like, all these things are on the table. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where I'm going to end up, but I'm okay with that for once in my life. I'm okay entering my 40s with that being my reality, you know, because every time I've tried to control and make things happen and play the game and manipulate. Nothing. Or it was like the biggest letdown ever. And of course there's lessons in that, but you want to also have things come into your life that are meant for you, that feel right, it's like that outfit you put on that just feels so good. In your career, you want that. Like, I'm here, like I'm supposed to be here. Like, this is meant for me. And people that support you and they're happy to see you and invest in you the way you invest in yourself.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that. Whatever that looks like, universe, whatever that is, I'm okay. Again, as we said in the beginning, we have this idea of how things should look, but
Yeah.
it rarely is that when it shows up. Sometimes it's even better than you imagine. So that's where I'm at, and
A
who
couple
knows?
a couple of observations or a couple of things that helped me when I was embarking on that reinvention. Number one, it's never too late for whatever that dream is,
Yeah.
I love reading stories of, gosh, of course I can't think of anyone right now, but like I feel like Brad Pitt like got his first movie role when he was like 37 or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like an entire career started maybe 10 years later, 15 years later than he probably wanted it to, or later than most of us would start our careers. Also, just keeping in mind that to be grateful for what you have now, because it is what you wished you had,
Back then.
20
Right.
years ago, So like
Yeah.
taking that step back to have that perspective and be like, damn, I'm so proud of myself. Like 21-year-old Jason would be so happy. He wouldn't even believe me if I told him everything that I've accomplished and everything that I have right now. And
Right.
I think you're right on track. Like just live in this moment of rest, like embrace it. It is here for a reason. It's here because we all needed it.
Yeah.
And whatever it is that is your next chapter is going to make itself clear. And you're so talented. You have such an ability to connect
Thank
with
you.
people and genuinely listen to people, and your energy is just so warm. Like you're going to be just fine. It'll all manifest and work itself out.
Thanks, S. Oh, you're giving me the digital hug I needed today.
Yeah, you give it to all of us, so it's about time somebody gave it back to you.
You're the best. Look, I know you got to get back to Logan. Before I let you go, first of all, thank you for the kind words. I receive all of it. Before I let you go, who is Simone Boyce now? Who, like you, through all your reinventions, through everything you've done, to who you've become and to who you've shown us. If you had to give the elevator pitch about who Simone is now, what would you say?
Ooh, this is so hard to do on the spot. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. She is strong. I learned that after childbirth. She is a godly woman. She loves others. And she's bold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like more on a personal level. I don't know that I would lead with that pitch when I, go into my job or whatever, but like that's who I feel I am as a person. Yeah.
I love it. And that, you know what? And you could absolutely lead with all those things because all those things are wonderful, yummy, delicious, and magnificent. Simone, it has been such an honor and a pleasure to talk to you today. Again, huge fan. Everyone, go follow her, please, at Simone Boyce. If you're not doing it already, what's up with you? Again, congratulations on everything. Much love to you and the family. Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Of course, of course.
It's been so great. And I just thank you so much for having me on. It was so much fun.
Absolutely, girl. I'm going to see you soon. You stay safe.
Yes.
Keep on killing the game, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Okay. Bye, Jason.
Bye.